What's going on, everybody? Groff Show. We are here at the NFL Combine with my guy, friend. Can I say friend?
Absolutely.
I mean, we met at the
Absolutely.
Fiesta Bowl. You know, we
Yeah.
haven't really talked that much. Got to see him again at the NFL Combine. Like, we were next to each other at, I said TSA, security.
Yeah.
Look behind me. I'm like, oh, hey, man. You're like, dude, this guy's following me everywhere. I see this guy everywhere. We were like, what do you do? And I was like, yeah, I produce for the volume, work with John and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and then connected and stuff. But two college football guys, Brooks Austin, the film guy, top 5 college football creator, according to X.
So they say. I about texted Shannon Terry. Was like, hey, stop the count. Like when we started reevaluating.
I know,
all
you're like,
that,
no.
all those Barstool guys were like, hey, I'm involved. I'm like, are you really? Like, you tweet about NFL stuff. There's a lot of interactions from those NFL tweets. Yeah, I was like, stop the count. I need to let everybody know. Top 5 guy right here.
Once the graphic comes out, we can't recount.
Yeah, no
recount
further
those.
acclamation of data. Done. That's it. The graphics were made. Top 5 college football account. We get to tell everybody.
Be honest. When you saw that? What was your takeaway? I mean, I know it's rankings. I know it's like it doesn't really matter, but like at the same time, like we all started somewhere in sports media. You want to get to like being one of the top voices, and obviously you are right now. Like, talk about what that moment was like.
So when I saw that list of top 20, and then it gets dwindled down to top 5 college football content creators, the sense of pride that I take is the fact that we've remained independent through all of that. Like, that's a really hard thing to do. It's really hard to get put in front of the masses as a guy who's just taking shots at the algorithm by myself. Yeah. Like, Pate's reached this point now, but Pate went through the 24/7 sports ages. Like, McAfee went through the Barstool sports ages. Like, most of these guys that are massive platforms, like even the Taylor Lewans and the Will Comptons, like, they played in the league.
Yeah.
Like, they have platforms. Like, I'm just a guy that started talking on the internet and found his motion and found his lane, if you will. And that's where I take the pride. It's like, yeah, it's awesome that I have this massive platform that I built, but it comes, the pride comes from, like, I kind of did it by myself.
Yeah.
I did it all, like, through the true means of natural growth, and there's not a lot of avenues like that anymore.
I haven't done a podcast in a while because I've been so focused on like social media presence, trying to build that up, and I've had success doing that. We'll start early on from what your perspective is. You started on YouTube, now you're going the opposite way. Like, kind of talk about, I guess, just the landscape of digital media. Do you think it's kind of like you got to start on YouTube, you got to start on social media, or you kind of just got to strike where the iron's hot and what clicks?
That's what I would say. I would start where people are gravitating towards you. Like, the film aspect and the YouTube aspect of things, for me, those were things that I discovered people resonated with, so I dove into them. Like, my original start, dude, I covered the NFL draft for a site called Fansided and NFL Mocks in 2017. Like, nobody knew what that was. It didn't resonate to that content. And then I got kind of discovered, if you will, from hey, we have an opportunity to let you cover a beat in college football. And I jumped on that, and then we start covering Georgia, and I'm just a writer in 2019 and 2020, and then I do one film breakdown, and it took off like gangbusters. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I need to start doing this stuff. People resonate with it, or at least maybe I'm good at it. And then once that started taking off, we fully immersed ourselves into the YouTube aspect of things, and that kind of take off. So, like, if you're a young content creator, if that's what you're asking the question for, it's like, dude, there is no one avenue. There's no one way to go about it. It's the avenue is where the people are, wherever they resonate or, associate your content with, dive right into that.
I think that's why I like your content, especially in the offseason, just trying to figure out who these players are. You got so-and-so going to LSU, Ole Miss, Oklahoma. A lot of these guys, like, you don't really have a lot of reps. You don't see them like in the big primetime games and stuff.
Yeah.
And I went to Montana. I was a receiver. I played under Coach Pease, Brent Pease, and he was the guy that called the Statue of Liberty play in the Boise State Oklahoma game.
Yeah.
So anytime I see your videos, I love that because it feels like I'm in those position meetings with him. Talk about like making those videos, which I love because obviously we've been around the game and we've seen it. And I'm trying to improve more about the game and study the game of football and stuff like that. But I like what you're doing is all these fans that talk about football, they don't really know the X's and O's.
Yeah.
So they watch your stuff, and it's like, okay, I understand why, let's say, ESPN talks about Mendoza having a bad game, a shitty game. You watch the film, oh, it wasn't him. It was actually the receiver in the wrong route.
Yeah.
They were in this coverage. Just kind of talk about, I guess, your angle of the film breakdowns and like what you've enjoyed doing about those most.
So I didn't go to journalism school, but from what I've been told, they talk a lot about the who, what, when, why, and where, right? Like that's your job. Your job is to explain the who, what, when, why, and where. I feel like 99.9% of content creators on YouTube that talk about college football are just talking about what happened. Like, hey, so-and-so beat so-and-so. So-and-so landed such recruits. Here's the new news item, and then they talk about what happened. My channel is dedicated to the college football fan that is seeking out why.
Yeah.
Why did my team lose today? Why did my team win today? Why does this football player fit what we do? Right? Like, you're not going to come to me and find out, oh, Brooks is going to tell me what happened today in the news. No, Brooks and the Film Guy Network are trying to explain why what happened today. And I feel like that's what is resonating with fan bases. And that's what we're looking for, those football fans. The football fans that are what we call ball curious. Like, you have to be curious about the actual football to enjoy what it is that we do. And I think the other thing that is really unique about what we do is I'm not there to talk over you. Like, if you come watch what we do from a basic layman football fan, like all you do is watch it on Saturday, you've never played, you don't know what's going on, you're a ball follower, you just watch the ball, right? Like, those people come to me, and I'm not ever going to try to have you leave going, damn, that guy sure knows football. I want you to leave going, wow, I took something from today. Like, we have 3 rules on the network. If you learn anything about the game of football, you must subscribe. If you learn anything about your favorite football team, you must subscribe. And if you have any fun at all, like, you have to subscribe. Those are the 3 categories that I'm trying to meet.
So, I just lost my train of thought. Actually, I had a good question. Gotta love live radio. Let's talk about. Oh yeah. Paul Finebaum. When did that? Was that kind of your? Oh shit! Like, it's working type of moment, breakthrough moment.
So, funny story, man. Like, I worked for my pops coming out of college.
Yeah.
I worked in a construction company that he owned, and I was mailing it in. I was just showing up every day, punching clock, not really grinding. And I decided to leave that. And it was a very contentious thing between me and my pops, because I'm like, I'm supposed to be the next in line. He built this whole company, and he wants to hand it off to me. And I always told myself, like, the day I'm making on Finebaum will be the day that my dad's like, oh my God, he did it.
He made it,
fuck, man, he's never coming back. And because my dad's listened to Finebaum since the day he was like on Sirius XM radio. Like, I remember getting out of high school practices and listening to my dad listen to Finebaum. So yeah, it was one of those moments. It was like, holy hell, like, I just talk football now, and like, I'm on Finebaum talking football. And that was cool, but really what was really like, oh my God, like, he let me have his platform this year.
Yeah.
Like, he let me come on that show and break down film. Like, if you've watched Finebaum over the years, Finebaum's you and a guest, and Finebaum's asking the guest, like, hey, what's going on down there in Athens? And they're hee-ho and hawing about college football. Dude, he let me go 12 minutes every single week, whatever topic I wanted, break it down on film.
Wow.
He just handed me the ball for 12 minutes on the SEC Network. That, to me, was like, okay, this is not just something that people like. This is something that seems to be scalable.
2-part question. When or who, growing up, gave you or inspired you for the love of college football? And my second part of that is, like, who are some sports media figures that you looked up to when you were growing up and wanting to do this for a living?
I used to, when I first started driving at my high school, once you turned 16, you could self-check yourself out at my private school. I would self-check myself out at 2:30 every single day to go listen to Dan Patrick. I would sit, it was a class that didn't really matter. I was really solid grade-wise, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I would go sit in my parking lot, and I would sit in my truck, and it was 2:30 every single day that they would upload. They were a 12 to 3 show, but the podcast wouldn't hit the Apple Podcasts until 12:30 for some reason. So I would run to the parking lot every single day, download the first 3 hours, and I would sit there, and I would listen to Patrick for 3 hours. And then once I got to college and went from Dan Patrick to maybe mix in a little Colin Cowher, a little Ryan Russillo, a little Bomani Jones. And then as I got older in college, hey, let's add Dan Lebitard into the mix. And if you listen to our show, if you listen to what it is I do Monday through Thursday on our live streams, there's a bit of all of that. There's a bit of the solo aspect from Patrick. There's a bit of solo aspect from Bomani and Ryan Russillo and Cowherd. And then there's that banter with the boys type of deal that, like, we picked up from the early stages of Lebitard. There's a smorgasbord of people that I've listened to. Now, what's really weird is once I started content creation, I'm not really listening to a whole lot of people. Not a whole lot of content that I'm absorbing, because there's so much content production that's going on. I mean, if I'm working 100 hours a week, 90 of it is deciding what we're about to do, creating what we're about to do. And
you got to watch all that film, too. That's
too.
one thing I think I've learned like studying college football and trying to get more knowledgeable about it all the time, which I absorb a lot of content, but I also feel like when I absorb a lot of content, you're taking up time of not making content and stuff. So my second part of that is, are there any people in today's landscape, college football wise, maybe you don't watch them, but you respect what they do in the college football landscape in terms of media?
There's tons of content creators that I'm like aware of and respectful of, but dude, I come from we both come from football backgrounds. I have a tremendous amount of respect, but I have balls in front of me that I'm trying to chase. I'm trying to run them down. I call them rabbits, right? If you go watch the dog races back in the day, there was a rabbit that would go around the track way faster than the dogs. I need a rabbit. So anybody in front of me is a rabbit. I'm running them down. And I'm not seeing what they're doing or how they're doing it or trying to make it my own, but I see their platforms, I see their sizes, and I want that. And I'm running it down as hard as I can. I'm not one of these people. I do believe that all tides rise all boats and all that good stuff. Like, hey, the industry growing is great for the industry as a whole, but I'm competitive. I want first viewer. So you and I as content absorbers or content people who watch content, you only have so many hours of the day to watch content. I want you running to me first, and I want to earn that. I don't want to just fall into that one day. I want to earn that to be the first viewer of every college football fan. They run to YouTube. They're going to go to the Film God Network and find out why. That's what I'm hunting.
My last personal question, we'll talk NFL draft. Big college football. It's good to have another college football brother in at an NFL convention. This place feels like an NFL convention. You walk everywhere, it's like, oh, well, there's Gudikins talking to Spytech or whoever, like people talking trades and stuff like that. Do you kind of feel like a proud dad watching all these college football players that you've watched and studied the last couple of years kind of take that next step into the NFL? And you, at that point, it's like you don't have to be like one of the Todd McShays or Daniel Jeremiah's to watch their film because you've already watched their film for 3 or 4 years, and you kind of make your observation off of that.
So one of the things that, and I don't know if this will continue to happen moving forward, but I started when most of these guys were in high school. So I was grinding recruiting. I'm out at high school events every day, 7-on-7s, practices. So I think you saw some of this today where guys that are from the state of Georgia that I didn't cover hand in hand in college, but we have a relationship because I've known them since they were 15 years old. That, you talking about a proud dad moment, that like seeing Kristen Miller here, seeing Caleb Downs here, seeing Avion Terrell here, Marcus Allens from Walton High School went to North Carolina, like seeing those guys that I've known since they were 15 go through the whole process, that's where the proud dad moment comes from. It's like I get to see people accomplish their dreams, and even more importantly for me selfishly, like some of those guys I was heavy on. I'm like, this is a great football player. This kid's going to go do something. And then to see them do it, it's like it's a confirmation of you're right, too, as much as it is like, dude, I'm proud for those young men to accomplish dreams that, you know, I would have only, it was unfathomable to a Division II player like myself.
You imagine being through this process right now?
No, absolutely
The interviews,
how
to run the 40 later today or tomorrow?
I was a 6-foot center, dude. Hell no. Absolutely not. Like, yeah, Willie Lumpkin comes around every once in a while, but it wasn't me.
Yeah. No, I was like 5'9", Montana receiver, like 6 on the depth chart. I'm like, yeah, there's no way. I never even thought I would go in NFL. When I was 5, I wanted to do.
I saw AQ Shipley at the Fiesta Bowl, and I was like, damn. I really don't have any more excuses as to why I didn't make the league.
He was so good on the Cardinals.
Yeah, but AQ Shipley's like 5'11". I don't know what he's listed at.
Even
AQ Shipley's like 5'11".
Darius Butler, I thought he was taller. He's like 5'10", 5'9". Like, you played corner for that long. The corner doesn't really.
That's different. He's probably like a 4.38, 40 vert jumper.
Facts.
Like,
crazy
AQ
athlete.
Shipley and I look at each other and they, you know, like I could see I'm that guy. But I wasn't that guy.
Let's get into NFL draft. I want to do mostly college football because I'm a big college football junkie.
Yeah.
You mentioned Caleb Downs. We talked earlier. You think he's the best player in the draft.
Yeah.
You also have comp to him that, you know, a lot of people in sports media, you know, they can be a little hesitant in terms of comps. They don't want to be wrong on certain things. I'm never afraid to admit when I'm wrong. I think it's always shoot for the stars. If you're wrong, admit it. I think your audience also loves it when you do admit it too. But talk about Caleb Downs, your thoughts on him, where you think he's going to go in the draft, and Ed Reed comp.
Yeah, that's the comp for me from a height, weight, speed standpoint, and movement patterns. Big movement patterns guy. How you move is paramount to me, because if you're a great mover, you're oftentimes never in a bad spot physically. You're not a slipper. You're never on the ground, right? You're always in the quote-unquote right spot. But to be in the right spot, we got to be in the right position as a mover, as a tremendous mover. I talked to you a lot about the bow-legged aspect of scouting that I have. I have a scouting theory. All the greatest athletes in the world are bow-legged athletes. LeBron James, Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker. The greatest athletes in the world Michael Jordan. They're bow-legged athletes. Their knees are outside of their ankles in a standard spot. Caleb Downs is that. He's a tremendous mover. But more importantly than that, I think he's probably the smartest defensive football player I've ever been around. And from day one at 14 years old, you could tell his brain operated and moved different than other players. Brother plays in the league. Dad was a 20-year college football guy. He's a football savant. You put him into the system, and he's going to run your system. He's going to figure it out very quickly. I learned this about him at Alabama early on. By the second day of practice in spring, I was told at Alabama, he was calling the entire defense. So you got guys like, and I told you this, you got guys like Kool-Aid McKinstry, guys like Terrion Arnold, guys like Branch, turning around and looking at a true freshman and saying, what do we got versus this? And, he's back there running the entire show as a true freshman. In a Nick Saban defense, by the way, it's like they don't really give that to young players. But the moment he was there in spring practice, it was like, all right, here you go, son. You're ready to go. And I think he's one of those ones. I think he's going to be a very unique, long-lasting player in the NFL.
I feel like he's the safest player in terms of, like, you talk about Mendoza, people are like, he's great, but he'd be ranked this in a different draft class. You talk about Rueben, Bain, and Bailey, they're like, but it just feels like Caleb Downs, like, I'm a Cardinals fan, you're there at 3. If you hesitate on anyone, I think there's no hesitancy on a Caleb Downs. I see some mock drafts when he's outside the top 10, and I kind of floored by it.
It's the craziest thing to me because I remember standing next to, like, scouting guys in the high school levels that do the recruiting rankings and stuff like that. He is the only 5-star that I've ever covered out of the state of Georgia, like hand-in-hand in person, that's not a height, weight, speed, automatic freak. Like, when you see Caleb Downs, I'm going to be honest with you, you're not going to be impressed. He's 5'11", he's 200 pounds, probably a 4.49 runner. Like, none of these are top 5 pick stuff. Yeah. But when you watch him play football, when you talk to him about the game of football, he's a very special football player.
What are your thoughts on just everyone talks about the quarterback class being bad? A year ago, there was a lot of hype with Aller, with Klubnik, with Nussmeier, and different situations for certain players. I know Aller, it was a disaster at Penn State. Nussmeier with Brian Kelly and all going on there. Klubnik, Dabo, they could not run the ball. What's your take on just, is there any flyers that teams can take in the second, third, fourth round and say, hey, like a Dak Prescott, not to hit that level, but hey, you were Mississippi State, 4th, 5th round guy. We're going to take you. Worst case scenario, Carson Beck, Aller turns to be a starter or a quality backup for a couple years in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, my immediate thoughts is like Ty Simpson. I'm a huge Ty Simpson guy.
Me too. And now the whole Gastrus stuff coming out about him losing 25 pounds and the back injury.
Yeah.
And they regained it back.
Yeah,
Talk about Ty Simpson, because I'm in the same way. I love that guy.
I think it's like early in the year we start struggling with back spasms. Like Auburn, we're dealing with back spasms. I found out, I'm watching tape of Zion Young, and I'm watching Missouri, Alabama, and Damon Wilson and Zion Young. And Ty Simpson goes on a scramble midway through the third quarter, and he gets obliterated. It's very similar to that play against Indiana where he fumbles on 3rd and long, where he probably should have slid. And I'm like, good Lord. I knew he dealt with cracked ribs as well the last 4 or 5 games. And I'm like, that's the moment we cracked our ribs. And I sent the video to an Alabama source, and I'm like, we probably should have slid here, but definitely got hurt, and definitely I think this is where we cracked our ribs. The source like, yep. So we played like the last 5 games with back spasms and cracked ribs. And I don't think there's a college football player coming into this draft with more NFL-like throws than Ty. Ty's got big-time throws. Now, what's really weird is you mentioned 3 players that had massive regressions, right? Nussmeier, Klubnik, and Aller. I wouldn't consider Aller a regression. That was the same player for 3 years. That's why I'm a non-draft there. Yeah. That kid did not get any better. That kid's been a great thrower of the football in shorts and T-shirts since he's been about 14 years old. But he ain't played the position ever at a high level. Garrett Nussmeier has. Yeah. Garrett Nussmeier's played this position at an extremely high level in 2024. And then in 2025, it all went to hell. Odds are because we had an oblique injury. Like, well, we can't throw the football. How are we supposed to get evaluated? So Nussmeier and Simpson are 2 guys that I look at. I'm like, you've made NFL throws. Carson Beck is an NFL mind. The weird thing about Carson, I think
the quotes off the field are the ones where it's like,
dude, and it's why Miami was such a great fit for him. It's like you'll never hear the words alpha and Carson Beck associated in the same conversation. You won't. You will not hear them. But in Miami, he didn't need that. They had Keontae Scott, they had Rueben Bain, they had Messidor, they had Mark Fletcher, they had Malachi. They didn't need a leader of that organization. They needed a point guard. And that's exactly what he was. Very akin to like a Kirk Cousins type to me.
Yeah.
Where I could see a world where Carson Beck might like do well from a completion standpoint, but's never like a guy in the league. I could see that for sure. But he's a polished mind. When you talk the game with Carson, you'll leave really, really impressed.
One of my favorite throws from Ty Simpson, I feel like not a lot of people talk about this. At Missouri, 4th and 3, 4th and 4, and he had the corner route. I think it was to Brooks.
Yeah, lots here. Yeah.
He doesn't complete that pass. All the momentum Mizzou had because they came back in the fourth quarter. Like Bama was supposed to I think they were like over a touchdown favorite in that game. It could have been close because Missouri was kind of hot at the time.
Yep.
But like those type of throws, or even early on when they're at Georgia, it doesn't get discussed because, he didn't play well in the back end of the season.
He opens against Georgia 9 for 9 on third down.
Ridiculous.
It was the best third
Grubb
down
was in his
performance.
bag.
It
Grubb
was the best third down performance that a opposing quarterback had against a Kirby Smart defense in the history of Kirby Smart defenses.
Yeah.
9 for his first 9. He finished 13 for 19 in that football game on third down.
I feel like for him and Nussmeier, you look at their dads, they're both football coaches.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a lot of times people overcomplicate things. It's like, okay, who's your
Caleb
dad?
Downs.
What
Dad's
college they
football
go
coach.
to? It's going to correlate further on. This other debate I want to talk about because this is a perfect guy. Been trying to ask people about this. No one knows film breakdowns, and especially body types like you. The biggest debate is Rueben Bain versus David Bailey. Came out today that Rueben Bain, 30 and 7/8 inch arm length. How big of a factor is that arm length talk versus Will Campbell offensive line last year?
Ooh. So as a defensive lineman, I'm trying to keep your hands off my chest. As an offensive lineman, I'm trying to get to the chest plate. So if I have short arms as an offensive lineman, it makes it really hard to get to your chest plate.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, like, when I lock out, I'm not touching you, and now you're in on my chest. You see a lot of this from Will Campbell, right, when he's getting bull rushed. It's because of that arm link. We don't have enough time to absorb the power. As a defensive player, all that matters is that I don't let your hands touch me, in my opinion. Like, I get if you're a long arm stick guy, like if you win with long arm sticks as an edge rusher, yeah, you need long arms. But how many reps did Rueben Bain win last year with a long arm stick? Not very many of them if you go watch it, right? He's actually a bender.
I was about to say,
he's a bender, and he's a twitchy guy at 265 pounds. That's what's freaky about him to me. So I'm not one of these guys that really worries about it all that much. However, I'm not one of these guys that has to make these decisions. They got the data. They know the fact that I don't think there's been an all-pro ever with sub 31-inch arms as an edge rusher.
Yeah.
So are you one of one? Like, are you that special? I think he is that special. Is he special enough to overcome all of the shortcomings, height, weight, speed-wise? I don't know. Because I don't do this for a living.
So you think David Bailey, just based on his production, coming from Stanford, Texas Tech, obviously he's a lot bigger and taller than Bain. I don't see how he doesn't end up in the NFL, or like successful in the NFL. Yeah. Would you say that probably safe pick if you're a top 3 pick?
Probably.
I guess right now the Jets are kind of the mystery between him, Downs, or whoever. But
I think Ruben's a safe pick, even if he's never a 12-sack guy.
If he's like 9 to the Chiefs.
Dude, Ruben's going to be an elite first and second down player.
Agreed.
That's the thing. Like, everyone gets so caught up in sack numbers and sack productions and are you good enough to get home in the NFL? Yeah, that's awesome, but are you a bitch to block on first and second down? Because Rueben Bain is. Honestly, his play style, his motor, the amount of energy and power that he plays with, it looks like J.J. Watt. I know he's not 6'6". I know he's not 280 pounds. I know all these things. But there are not very many human beings on the defensive line that play with the motor that kid does. In fact, if you really go down to down and watch football players on the defensive side of football on the line of scrimmage, a lot of dudes take plays off. A lot of dudes play hard on 3rd and 9 and don't really play hard on 1st and 10.
Yeah.
That's not him. That dude plays off the wall, first snap to last snap.
So I was going to ask you underrated players in the draft, but I'm a receiver guy, and I love this receiver class a lot.
It's deep.
Specifically the receiver class. Everyone's talking Mekhi, Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate. I get it. Like they're gonna be top 3. We'll see Tyson. He apparently had a bad medical today, is what the rumors swirling that I've heard from some people. So I don't know how that's gonna affect things. Besides them, you look deeper down. Who are some receivers that you like that could be legit 2 3s, or maybe potentially 1? Because right now I know Daniel Jeremiah. He's like 12 with a first round grade, or 12 with like a top. No, sorry, maybe not first round.
Wow.
12, maybe 12 with either a first round grade or first 2 or top 50. Got to double check.
I'm a little biased, but like I love Jeremy Bernard.
Love Bernard.
Like I think Jeremy's just such a great football player. I mean, they used him in every form and facet. They used him as a running back. They used him primarily as an X receiver.
He was receiver 4 at Washington.
Yeah,
he probably should have played over Polk, to be honest.
Honestly.
But he developed
and Polk was used much more as a slot receiver, and Jeremy's like a full 6'2". Like I don't know if we're built to be inside. We're like normally outside the numbers as a receiving threat, but he's just such a well-rounded football player, and having come from that system, it's just such a smooth progression into what we're about to do.
Yeah.
And the opposite of that, like I think Chris Brazzell is going to get labeled with this like Tennessee wide receiver thing. That some bitch is 6'5", 200 pounds. He can absolutely route people up. And if he's going to run this week, he's going to go 4.4.
Yeah.
So if we're 6'5", 200 pounds, running 4.4 with over I think he had close to 1,000 yards receiving last year in the SEC. Like, you should be a top 90 selection, in my opinion.
That Georgia game was nuts. That was absurd.
He's putting guys on their face, like running verticals. Like, we're selling outside move, and we're scaring you so much with speed that you're falling on your face. It's like,
wasn't Aguilar like 6 for 6 or 7 for 7, 2 touchdowns, both of those?
Tried 13 for 14 to start the football game, and I think 6 of the 13 were to Brazzell. Brazzell had 150 before the half, I think.
They should have won that game. That kicker blew it, man. He blew it.
Wide right.
College football. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, dude. College football guy. Talk college football. Love college football. What does this offseason right now look like for you? What type of film are you watching to get prepared for this season?
So we spent about a month and a half watching transfer portal additions. Like, hey, this is your new additive onto your roster. Here's what he did at his previous spot. March and April are really interesting for me I don't do much content creation. I do a lot of exploration, if you will.
Yeah.
I go to 45 some odd high school programs to try to find the next, crop of players. I do that a lot off content. I go do a lot of interviews and shit like that. Nowadays, I'm data collecting for SEC teams and other teams that are smart enough to use me.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'll go spend probably 3 weeks bouncing around college football programs, sitting in meeting rooms, finding out how they're teaching concepts. That's an important thing for me. I do so much educating on football concepts during the season that I feel like I would be remiss if I wasn't continuing my football education, if you will. So any football coach that will allow me to spend 24 hours in their building, I'll go do it. I'll drive anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the world to do it.
So what's your biggest takeaway from last season with Indiana making it all, winning it all? A lot of teams with high expectations fell short. Is there kind of some trend that you see in college football over this last couple of years that you think?
Especially defensively and schematically. Like, defenses, the first 6 years I was doing this, everybody was sprinting to nickel. They were finding ways to play 5 DBs. Even if you were a 3-4 football team, you became a 4-2-5 mint football team. Okay, you started playing odd fronts out of even packages so you could play 5 DBs. And then all of a sudden I looked up out of nowhere, and Harold Perkins is playing off-ball linebacker as a true outside linebacker, like old school 4-3 outside linebacker. And I'm like, okay, well, it's a unique trick. Like, that's a cool football player that's kind of positionless. I understand why they're doing it. And then I look up, and Texas Tech's doing the same thing. I'm like, whoa, y'all running 4-3? And then I look up, and Indiana's running 4-3. But Indiana's running 4-3, and they're running 4-3 base personnel against 11 personnel from Ohio State. And now I'm really talking ball, but here's the deal. 11 personnel from Ohio State is historically the most terrifying thing that you can do. You can't play base against that.
No.
They got Jeremiah Smith out there, Brandon Ennis. They got Carnell Tate. They got a tight end that can move. They got quarterbacks that can throw. Everybody plays nickel against those guys. Indiana's playing 4-3 quarters. And I'm like, whoa. So we might be fully returning to this. We might be fully returning to base personnel defense. On top of base personnel returning to football, the amount of chaos I see created on defensive lines on first and second down blows my mind. 10 years ago, everybody was two-gapping. everybody was taking their 4-down linemen and saying, you stand right there. Don't you dare let an offensive lineman get up to the linebackers.
Yeah.
Linebackers are going to scrape and fill and plug, and we're going to do what we call build walls. Then you turn on Indiana's tape, and they're doing this, and they're throwing 3 guys this way, wrapping 2 guys this way, and they're leading the nation in TFLs, and they're leading the nation in havoc plays, and yet they're 11th in explosives allowed.
It's unbelievable.
That doesn't happen. For what I just explained, that does not happen. Like, you look at Pitt. Pitt's a top 10 every single year in explosives, or havoc created, right? Tackles for loss, sacks. But they're bottom 100 in explosives allowed because we're trying to create all this havoc, and we leave ourselves exposed, and then, boom, we allow explosive.
Yeah.
The amount of teams that are creating havoc without allowing explosives now in college football needs to be studied, and those defense coordinators need to be stolen. I think Bryant Haines is the most – how in the hell does that guy not have a head coaching
Indiana,
job?
right?
Yeah, Indiana, D.C.
I'm surprised him or the OC don't even get conversated about. And I guess Indiana's paying him coordinator money.
Paying him a lot of money, but more importantly than that, I think they enjoy working for that guy.
Yeah.
I think they enjoy working for him because they've went from him from PIU or EPI or whatever the hell it was to, up there at Elon, then traveled with him to James Madison and stayed with him in Indiana. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of retention at the coordinator position there.
Who's the let me track real quick. LSU got the best portal class in your opinion, or you think it's someone else that contends with them?
I mean, they got the most. I think Texas got the best. I think Texas got the best players. Like, dude,
outside of Cam Coleman.
Okay,
let's hear it. Let's hear it. Hot take.
I'm not a Sam Levitt guy. I think Sam Levitt's going to get one of these GMs fired next year. Okay?
Really?
I think Sam Levitt's going to go to LSU, and he's going to look flawless because it's hard not to in Lane's system and with Charlie Weiss Jr. And I might throw a couple interceptions early on because they all do. If you look at Matt Corral's first year, he throws 12 picks. Jackson Dart, 12 picks. Mm-hmm. Austin Simmons is a turnover machine to start the year last year. Yeah. They go to Trinidad, right? So he'll probably throw some interceptions, but he'll clean it up. He'll look great. He is frantic. That is the most when you full field read him, it's like all over the place.
Is that what Mississippi State did basically against him? Because that game he looked horrific.
Watch what happens to Sam Levitt when you take away Tyson. Go have some fun. Go watch Arizona State football and say, okay, Tyson's not open. What happens? I'll tell you what happens. Run around chicken with my head cut off. Yeah. Now, sometimes they might find gold. You might be running around, boom, explosives pop. But I'm not for frantic playmaking. I'm for design playmaking.
But do you think because they added 6 or 7 receivers, or you don't think they're as strong as a playmaking ability of Tyson to be that number one?
Yeah. You talking about at LSU?
At LSU, yeah.
I mean, we'll see what Chase Brown looks like.
Yeah, I like Chase Brown.
He's a good football player. We'll see what it looks like. I don't really – and the Winston Watkins kid they brought over from Ole Miss, really good football player.
Some guy from Hawaii I think they brought over too.
Yeah, I mean, they 57 new football players. They're a brand-new football team. I don't know what to really expect out of them other than they're not going to be a laughingstock like it felt like towards the end of the year LSU's coaching staff was. But no, man, we'll see. I like what Texas did from Cam Coleman, Hollywood Smothers, Raleek Brown. The offense, Melvin Siani's great. The kid they brought over from Wake Forest that is going to allow them to kick Brandon Baker inside where he needs to be.
They get an offensive lineman from A&M too.
Yeah, they did. I mean, the offensive line additions that they brought in, they're good football players. They needed them bad. That offensive line last year was terrible.
So you said you were out on Levitt. Arch getting Cam Coleman, does that bring your trust level up a little more in what you saw from the back end of the season?
The mechanics on Arch scare me. Like, we're an overstrider. We're super linear. We collapse our front side.
You feel like Peyton and Eli are going to sit down like, okay, Arch, and really hone in on his mechanics, hopefully, in the offseason?
He works with QB country. It's like, I know who he's training with. He's training with good people. Yeah. And I've seen his offseason workouts. That's the other thing that concerns me. And, I know they were super pressurized mechanics last year because the pockets were terrible. But when I see what you practice like and what you look like when it's not live bullets – and then your mechanics completely alter in the middle of the fire, that scares me. You know what I mean? Like, we go from having one swing, and then we go out there in the batter's box, and it looks like a totally different swing. What's going on there? We got to figure that out because we overstride bad. Like I'm saying, mechanically, we are not very clean. But, man, that dude competes his balls off. I said it on our show. It would be like watching the nepotistic hire in a construction company be the hardest worker. That's what he plays football like. He plays football gritty. Plays football dirty, and he's a third-generation superstar. Yeah, and I like that about him.
So we see here it's almost March. Everyone loves hearing who do you like to win next year? Who's going to win the national champion? Who's going to compete in the college football playoff? If you had a group of teams that like, hey, I think they got a lot of returning production. I think they got a really good coach. Who would be that guy that if you had to put, let's say, Tangeran on for them to win the Natty? Or even just to make the college football playoff have a competitive season. Who would you?
I feel like if
group of teams, or you could pick one.
I feel like if Texas isn't in the national title, they will feel like they did not meet any type of expectations for what the roster got put together for. I've always said Georgia, as long as Kirby Smart there, is a 10-2 floor. It's just what they are.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. Like, I think Oregon's going to be good again this year. Obviously, Dante coming back, but I mean, they lose a good bit from the core of that first group of players that Dan had that were really, really good. I think they lose a lot of that core this year, so we'll see what they look like. Julian Sands got to take a massive leap for me, for Ohio State to be in this discussion.
Miami game, man. He did not. He backed up so far in the pocket sometimes. Me and John were watching that game, and it's like that's one thing I love about Ty Simpson and even some of these quarterbacks. John's been telling me about this all the time. He's like, does the quarterback step up in the pocket, or does he step back in the pocket when he gets pressure?
Yeah.
You step back, he keeps going backwards. Like, he's scared.
Is the plan exit strategy? Because if the plan is to exit, you're not going to survive very long.
Yeah.
I tell this about people watching high school quarterbacks all the time. Like, dude, if the first read's not there and they're immediately bailing out of pockets, who cares if they made a play? That stuff's not going to fly. It's not going to happen at the next level. So we have to be able to make plays from the pocket. I think Ty's exceptional at that, man.
Yeah.
He is. I picked him left and right all year this year, even knowing that they were a flawed football team because of him, honestly.
I'd love to see him in the Rams or like a good situation.
Yeah.
You know, another team I want to mention. I'm a fan of this team. Obviously, covering college football, I try to be unbiased, but when they're good, I try to, give them some smoke. Is Notre Dame. And I saw you the other day talk about CJ Carr as the opportunity to be one of the best quarterbacks at Notre Dame. They have Joe Montana. They have Joe Theismann. But what are your thoughts on just CJ Carr, what you saw last year, and the expectations leading up ahead? I know people are mad about Notre Dame because of schedule, and it's soft, but you can't control it, and USC backed out, so it is what it is.
You can control it. You can get your ass in a conference.
Hey, I'm okay with that. People are like, oh, be independent, whatever.
Yeah.
It's the money, obviously, that they get.
Here's the deal. You're a Notre Dame fan. Do you realize you would have made the playoffs last year if you were a Mountain West Conference member?
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
Yeah, and you didn't as an independent, so there's that. But moving forward, you won't have to. Get inside the top 12, you're good.
Positive.
I mean, I tweeted what I tweeted about CJ. I think CJ's really, really good. I hate the pedal drop, to be honest with you. When we're working to our left and we back pedal out of the pocket, Bryce Young started it. Don't know why people think it's okay. I don't like it. Makes us really, really bad on the backside of the progression. Okay, we can't get our feet over there if our feet are literally perpendicular to the sideline as we take the drop. So I don't like that, but I love the arm talent. I love the accuracy. I love the mind. My God, this kid controlled a whole hell of a lot more of the line of scrimmage than most first-year starters get to at Notre Dame. I tweeted what I tweeted about him because of the schedule and because of the hype machine and because of the talent. That kid, through 9 weeks of the season or whenever they play their first meaningful football game, where do they play Miami, like week 7?
You talking about Notre Dame?
Yes.
Oh, week 1.
Week 1. Okay, then after that, it's cakes.
Miami, A&M.
One other meaningful game.
You had USC in the middle of the year-ish. You had Pitt, who was kind of hot.
I'm talking about this year.
Oh, this year? Oh, this year. Oh, yeah. Miami, they play like week 6, 7.
Okay.
They play BYU.
Okay.
That's about it.
There are 2 games to get up for, and they're late in the season or mid to late in the season. I'm telling you right now, mid-October, people are going to be talking about this kid as the greatest Notre Dame quarterback of all time. I promise you, the machine will happen because it's inevitable. He is a great player at an organization that gets the hype machine. He'll get it no different, in my opinion, maybe slightly different from a degree standpoint. He'll get it like Arch Manning got last year.
I'm excited to see what Denbrock will do because obviously Love and Price leave.
Good Lord.
And you got some wide receivers, a lot of young
is
receiver
Fields
depth.
back?
Fields is not. No, he's here. So you
That
got
kid.
Jaden Greathouse. I love Malachi Fields. We'd even mention him when we talk about wide receivers.
Yeah.
That dude can just plucks balls out of the air.
Is that the best X receiver they've had since Claypool?
Yeah. Like if they would have had him against Ohio State, because they didn't really have that reliable guy. It was Greathouse, and he got hurt this year. You didn't really have that. I think it was what's his name? Bo Collins was the X.
Yeah, from Texas. Yeah.
From Clemson. Yeah,
Clemson.
Yeah.
By way of Texas. Yeah.
A couple more. I appreciate the time.
No, you're good, dude. I got nothing.
College football, everyone talks about the problems. Everyone talks about everything going around the sport, and it's the off season. And I see headlines that there's a college football banquet going on, and we're talking about the targeting rule, which is great. I don't want people suspended. And we're talking about pant length, but we're not talking about the playoff, how extended it is. We're not talking about the portal issues, the tampering, the coaches, all that kind of stuff like that. In your mind, will one singular problem get solved this offseason, or will it not until a commissioner or even the president or Congress or whoever comes in and steps in and stops this madness? Because I do think it's kind of overblown. Like, the sport is in a bad spot, but I think it's also in a good spot where
it's in the best spot financially it's ever been.
And I think even publicly and people talking about it and wanting to come back, because I went to Indiana University and they sucked forever, but now they can win football games. Like, it's a loaded question, but just kind of talk about the problems of the sport, what you're hearing. Do you think any of it will get resolved?
So
at least one?
I guess the good news is like, if you follow Ross Dellinger, he'll let you know like when things are actually happening in the government of the sport, the governance of the sport. Yeah. It seems like the NCAA is at least threatening to actually implement rules. Okay, like actually come get you. Like yesterday, it was reported that if you add a player outside of the portal window, your coach is basically suspended for 6 months. And your school has to give up 20% of its football budget as a fine. But look, we've had rules in this sport forever. Whether or not you can actually enforce them is my question.
Yeah.
Like, guys, did you know, like, you played football, okay? You played college football. The NCAA deems you eligible or ineligible. You know this.
Yeah.
Did you know that the NCAA told Indiana that their starting safety was ineligible prior to the season last year?
I saw that with the whole
and
wins and stuff.
Do you know what the Indiana team did? They filed a TRO, placed it in court, and went just like this to the NCAA. Went on to win their national title. And the NCAA was like, we might vacate that. No, you're not.
No.
You're not going to vacate that. No, you will not.
That's what people said about Michigan, too.
It's the first time I have ever seen – we've gotten to a point in college football where the member schools look at the governing body and say, yeah, okay. Like, you're really going to come get me. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
It's like Trinidad Chambliss.
That can't – no, it's not. Because court won there. Well,
in terms of like,
and that was an NCAA filing issue. Like, we did not file the medical red shirt correctly. Also, you're on NCAA Airways saying that this kid applied for it. What's going on there? That's totally different in my opinion.
I meant in terms of like where he gives the middle finger to the NCAA and keeps going until they say yes, and the NCAA is like, oh, we're gonna appeal. Like, no, you're not. That's my perspective on that.
In my opinion, the story of the kid from the kid in Indiana cannot happen. That kid from Indiana played 3 years. He played 3 years of junior college football at Navarro, all right, and then played 2 years of starting caliber football at Indiana, and then transferred to Ole Miss, and then transferred back to Indiana. He played 3 years of JUCO football and 4 years of Division I Power 4 football.
Yeah,
that cannot happen.
I agree.
And prior to the 4th year and 7th year of eligibility, he put up a middle finger to the NCAA. And then his team went and won the national title. We cannot have that. We cannot have member schools looking at the governing body and be like, nah, I don't believe you. Like, it can't happen.
A couple more. Coach, quarterback, under the most pressure, 2026.
Oh, Sark and Arch. Sark and Arch for sure.
Not even like, when I asked that, I was saying like maybe you could go different or whatever, but you're saying combine Sark and Arch.
Yeah.
Even
like
if you had to
Arch's got the pressure of the world because of who he is. But I think Sark's got a serious, like, dude.
Can they run the ball?
Well,
can they run the ball?
I was more thinking
or convert on third downs.
I was more thinking like, if not now, when?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not going to go do what you're supposed to do with this roster, y'all have recruited inside the top 5 for 4 straight years, okay, which costs money. Y'all went out and added 19 new bodies out of the transfer portal, spent about $12 million in the portal, and you have what is projected to be a first-round caliber quarterback. You got to go win. You got to go win big. So I think anytime you pay a guy like Brendan Sorsby almost $6 million, he feels pressurized. But I don't know if you really feel the eyes of Texas on you at Texas Tech like you do at Texas.
Yeah.
You know?
My last one for you. You're a Georgia guy. It was so funny. We were talking before about Georgia high school football, and I was like, is high school football big in Georgia? You're like, hell yeah. Because Arizona, it is, but it's not like, obviously the big schools, there's like what, I would say like a little pool of them versus Georgia, it's like a
Yeah.
lazy river in terms of that standpoint. What's the state of Georgia football? Back-to-back years, you win the SEC, and somehow you lose the first round in games that you're favored, the same place, the Sugar Bowl against Notre Dame and Ole Miss. I'm not saying Kirby Smart's on the hot seat. I'm not saying like they're going to be back in the playoff, but it's like what can they do to get over that hump in this third year?
Well, first and foremost, don't give up 45 points.
Yeah, that's
Like
no
we can talk about the quarterback, we can talk about the OC. That's what Georgia fans do. They complain about that, but like I am under the impression that if Georgia scored 46 points in that football game, Ole Miss would have found a way to score 47. Like that was a defensive loss against Ole Miss. And you go back to the Sugar Bowl a year prior, like Gunnar Stockton's first career start, they get whipped in the middle eight. I think they go 17-0. Down 17-0 in the middle eight, which is the last 4 minutes of the second half, the first 4 minutes
love the middle eight.
of the third quarter, and they got whipped. And that's what cost them that football game. I think from a grand scheme of things, I'm worried about Georgia's dependence on high school recruiting in a day and age where we have 23-year-old rosters off proven veterans. That's what scares me. Like, Indiana goes out and they do what they do in the portal, and Texas goes out and they do what they do in the portal, and all these schools are buying great football players out of the portal every year. Texas now just this year, not really built out of that way. But, like, for example, Georgia goes into next year losing Zachariah Branch and Colby Young's here for the NFL Combine, Noah Thomas. Like, lose 3 veteran football players, Oscar Delp, right? Like, out of the room. And next year, if CJ Wiley and Taylor Taylor aren't great, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Those are top 100 football players out of high school that common fan listening to this has no idea who I just mentioned. They're 2 top 100 players. They're the highest tandem of wide receivers Georgia has signed since Dominic Blaylock and George Pickens. And if those guys aren't great as true sophomores, they're not going to be good enough at wide receiver. And you can apply that, what I just said, to the defensive line room. You can apply that to the offensive line room. You can apply that to the running back room. You can apply that to the linebacker room. They are a high school built football program. And if they don't get better, they won't be good enough.
Do you think it's going to be the case where it was Carson Beck's last year, I think, where they didn't have a lot of good receiver talent. They kept dropping balls. They do have Bowens and they do have Frazier in the backfield. Do you think it's going to be kind of one of those where Bobo's like, all right, we're just going to run it 40, 50 times with Gunnar Stockton and those 2 in the backfield and just run the ball?
So they have their shortcomings as a talent or whatever, but like from a cultural standpoint, they're better than they've been in 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
From a we execute, we play hard, we play through the echo of the whistle, all that stuff that matters in the fourth quarters of football games, they're great at, and they're great at it because of their quarterback, their identity that Gunnar brings to that organization. So they'll be fine from all those standpoints. I think they're going to be a great defensive football team this year that beats people 27-17.
Last question. Is Alabama in trouble next year?
Are they in trouble from their fan standpoint? Yes. Like, I think the fan base got so used to, and Georgia's getting to this area. Like, if Georgia pops a 9-3 this year, they'll burn the city on fire.
Man.
At 9-3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's where Bama's been for 10 years now. But I'm very curious, man, to see what Austin Mack looks like, to see what, if it's not good there, to see what Keelan Russell looks like. Russell's going to be here at some point.
Yeah. I like him. I like his high school
He's a great football player. But you talking about a defense. Dude, they return everybody in the back end. They return Bray Hubbard, Keon Saab. They return Dejan Lee, I believe is his last name. They return Zabian Brown. They're going to be fine in the back end. They're going to be another great defense. I worry about the SEC from who got worse. Like, Missouri got worse. I think Bama took a slight step back. Oklahoma, do they repeat 10-2 playoff bound? Like, it's hard to ask from
Parker
that.
Livingstone.
Right?
One of my favorite wide receivers, him being Charlie Becker, man.
I think Missouri's down, Vandy's down. Like, we got a lot of programs in the SEC that last year were 9 or 10 win football programs.
Me and John were talking.
How they get there.
Yeah, me and John were talking yesterday. It was like Big Ten. I feel like might have a not the top. Like Oregon, obviously, Ohio State would be there, Indiana would be there. But, like, outside of that, it's like Michigan ? USC ? And then it's like, who do you go after that?
Which, by the way, like, because of talent dispersion and because of the portal, that's where we're at in college football. Like, last year on paper, I had no idea who was going to win. This year, I really have no clue. Like, I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Texas, and there's one.
Yeah. But
other than that, I think it's a crapshoot. And that's the nature of the business now.
Are you more confident that Miami wins the ACC or that Texas Tech wins the Big 12 next year?
Is that crumble money getting used out there in Utah or in Provost?
Well, we're gonna have Bear
Are we
Bachmeier
using
again, probably.
Yeah, we're using that crumble cookie money.
They got Ryder Lyons in a couple years once he's back from his mission, I think. So.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say Texas Tech. But man, you talking about a team that lost a ton.
That D line. I get you paid a lot of money for that D line. But can you replace him again?
Here's the interesting thing about Texas Tech. They went the first 2 years of Cody Campbell's oil money buying shit out of the portal, and now they're buying high school players. There's going to be a gap. There's going to be a gap there where they go from one of the oldest rosters in the league to one of the youngest rosters in the league.
Yeah.
Like they go from having David Bailey and number 9, what's his name from Brinson?
Height.
Yeah, Romello Height. I always want to call him Romello Brinson. Romello Height to, hey, can this little Damian Guyton kid play well? And when Damian Guyton's a 5-star, don't get me wrong, and Texas Tech fans not going to like this, he's 17 years old. He's supposed to be a senior in high school next year. And y'all going to ask him to go do what David Bailey did? Nah, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my concern there. But, dude, the Miami roster.
Course they get Minsa at the last minute. You know, him
Mensa,
and their number one receiver.
They get Damon Wilson from Missouri.
Dog.
They get the Cooper kid from, like you just mentioned, from Duke. Like, they're going to be good.
Malachi Tony wearing number 1.
Like, how often do you lose a third-round quarterback and take one December or January 18th that's better outside the portal? Like, dude, Mensa's so much better than Carson Beck.
Yeah, John was asking yesterday.
Better.
He's like, what, do you think he's going to be a first-round or second-round year next year? And I was like, I think there's a very good shot that he's going to be.
His Tulane tape is draftable.
Yeah.
Go watch his Tulane tape. He's playing in a pro-style offense, and you're like, oh, my God.
I wish, they play Duke next year, but it's at Miami. I wish it was at Duke because this year they played Tulane at Tulane, and they lost. I think it's going to be fun to see him play his alma mater.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It was not his alma mater. He didn't get it.
Or not his alma mater. His previous school.
His secondary side chick.
Brooks, appreciate the time, bro. I appreciate you. We met at the Fiesta Bowl, went up to you. I said, hey, man, love your stuff. You kind of looked at me weird. You're like, who the hell is this guy? Saw you again, followed you around the Fiesta Bowl, then obviously being here, man. I appreciate the connection, and I'm excited to see where you grow and
likewise
where I grow, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Appreciate you.